Hello and welcome to our science class. Our first topic is an introduction to the human body. Our fascinating journey through the human body begins with an overview of the meanings of anatomy and physiology, followed by the discussion of the organization of the human body and properties that it shares with all living things. Next, we will discover how the body regulates its own internal environment. This unceasing process is called the homeostasis. It's a major theme in every chapter of our topic. Finally, we will introduce the basic vocabulary and language that will help you speak about the body in a way that is understood by scientists and healthcare professionals. So let's start with the meaning of anatomy and physiology. So anatomy is the science of body structure and the relationships among them. From the word ana, which means up, and tomy, the process of cutting. On the other hand, physiology is the study of how the body and its parts work or function, or is the science of body functions or how these body parts work. In this chapter also, we will also discuss the gross anatomy. So what is this gross anatomy? So gross anatomy is the structure that can be examined without a microscope. Scientific study of the structures that can be examined without a microscope. Large structures that can be observable or easily observed. Example of this is a study of the organs in our body. Then next we have the microscopic anatomy. So this is the study wherein structures cannot be seen with our naked eye. So these structures can only be viewed with the instrument called the microscope. An example of this is a study of our digestive system. So inside our stomach are tiny structures that absorbs or that releases chemicals that aids in the breaking down of food. And also in our intestine, the small intestine particularly, there are structures that helps in the absorption and digestion of the food materials in the body. And now, let us now discuss the levels of structural organizations and the body system. So let's start with the chemical level. So in chemical level, the very basic level can be compared to the letters of alphabet and includes atoms. So what are these atoms? So atoms are the smallest units of matter that participate in chemical reactions. While molecules, so atoms combine to form molecules. So what are these molecules? So molecules are two or more atoms that join together, and these are composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, sulfur that are essential for maintaining life. An example of these molecules in the body are the DNA or the deoxyribonucleic acid, which is the genetic material that is passed from parent to offspring. And the other molecule is called the glucose, which is commonly known as the blood sugar. So these atoms and molecules combine to form the cell. So in cellular level, cells are made up of molecules. So the cells are the basic structural and functional units of every organism that are composed of these chemicals mentioned a while ago. Then the next organization is the tissue level. So in tissue level, it is made up of tissue which consist of similar types of cell that perform a particular function in the body. So there are just four basic types of tissues in our body. We have the epithelial tissue, the connective tissue, the muscular tissue, and the nervous tissue, which will be discussed thoroughly in our next chapter. Then next, we have the organ level. So in the organ level, organs are made up of different types of tissues. So these organ example are the skin, the stomach, the pancreas, etc., etc. Then these organs are grouped together and perform specific function. Then we have now the organ system level or the system level. An example of this, we have what? We have the respiratory system, cardiovascular system, the skeletal system, and other system in the body. We will discuss the 11 organ system later. Then next we have the organism level or the organismal level. So an organism is any living individual. So all the parts of the human body functioning together constitute the total organisms. So all the parts of the human body functioning together constitute the total organism. So now let us now discuss atoms, molecules combine to form the cell. Then the cell combine to form specific types of tissues in the body. Then tissues combine to form the organs, and organs are composed of 2 or more different types of tissues. Then the tissue, organ, then organ. The next organization is the organ system level. Consists of different organs that work together closely. Example of is the cardiovascular system. Then we have the organismal level. Human organisms are made up of many organs, particularly 11 organ system. So let us now discuss the 11 organ system. First, we have the integumentary system. So what is this integumentary system? This system is composed of the skin and associated structures such as the hair, the fingernails, and the toenails, sweat glands, and oil glands. So what are the functions of integumentary system? It protects the body, helps regulate body functions, body temperature, eliminates some wastes, helps make vitamin D, detects sensations such as touch, pain, warmth, and cold. And it also stores fats and provides insulation. So that is our integumentary system. Then the next system is the skeletal system. The skeletal system is composed of the bones and joints of the body and their associated cartilages. So what are the functions of skeletal system? It supports and protects the body. It provides surface area for muscle attachments, and it also aids body movements, and also houses cells that produce blood cells, and also it stores minerals and lipids or our fats in the body. That is our skeletal system. Then the next is the muscular system. So the muscular system is composed of what? Specifically, it is composed of skeletal muscle tissue. Muscle usually attached to the bones. Other muscle tissue includes smooth and cardiac muscle. So what is the function of muscular system? So it participates in body movements such as walking, running, and also it maintains posture and produces heat. So that is the function of our muscular system. Then next we have the nervous system. So the nervous system, it is comprised or composed of the brain, the spinal cord, the nerves, and the special senses such as the eyes and the ears. So functions of our nervous system. It generates action, potentials, or so-called as the nerve impulses to regulate body activities. It also detects changes in body's internal and external environments. It also interprets changes and responds by causing muscular contraction or glandular secretion. So that is our nervous system. Then next we have the endocrine system. Our endocrine system is mainly composed of hormone-producing glands. Pineal gland, the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, thymus, thyroid gland, parathyroid glands, adrenal glands, pancreas, ovaries, testes, and hormone-producing cells in several other organs. So what are the functions of our endocrine system? It regulates body activities by releasing hormones. So what are these hormones? Hormones are chemical messengers that are transported in blood from endocrine gland or tissue to the target organ. So that is the function of our endocrine system necessary for growth, reproduction, metabolism, etc., etc. The next system is the cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system is composed mainly of the blood, the heart, and the blood vessel. What is the function of our cardiovascular system? Our heart pumps blood through the blood vessel. Our blood carries oxygen and nutrients to cell and carbon dioxide and waste away from the cell and helps regulate acid-base balance. Temperature and water content of body fluids, blood components, help defend against disease and repair damaged blood vessel. So that is the function of our cardiovascular system. Then next we have the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is composed mainly of the lymphatic fluid and vessels, such as the spleen, the thymus, lymph nodes, and tonsils. Cells that carry out immune responses such as the B cells, T cells, and others. So what is the function of our lymphatic system? Our lymphatic system returns proteins and fluid to blood, carries lipids from gastrointestinal tract to blood, and it also contains sites of maturation and proliferation of B cells and T cells that protect against disease-causing microbes. And that is a function of our lymphatic system. Our respiratory system is composed of the lungs and air passageways such as the pharynx of our throat, the larynx, which is our voice box, the trachea, our windpipe, and bronchial tubes leading into and out of our lungs. So functions, it transfers oxygen from inhaled air to blood and carbon dioxide from blood to exhaled air. It also helps regulate acid-base balance of body fluids. Air flowing out of lungs through vocal cords produces sound. So it also functions in producing sound aside or apart from the exchange of gas, the oxygen and carbon dioxide in the body. Then next we have our digestive system. Our digestive system is composed of organs of gastrointestinal tract, a long tube that includes the what? The mouth, the pharynx or the throat, our esophagus, our stomach, the small and the large intestine, and the anus. It also includes organs that assist in digestive processes such as salivary glands, the liver, gallbladder, and the pancreas. Functions. The digestive system functions in achieving physical and chemical breakdown of food into absorbable form. It also absorbs nutrients and also eliminates solid wastes. So that is our digestive system. Our urinary system is composed mainly of the kidneys, the ureters, the urinary bladder, and the urethra. So what are the functions of our urinary system? It produces and stores and eliminates urine, eliminates waste, and regulates volume and chemical composition of the blood. And it also maintains the acid-base balance of body fluids. It also maintains body's mineral balance and also helps regulate production of red blood cells. So that is the main function of our urinary system. Last but not definitely the least, we have the reproductive system. Our reproductive system is composed mainly of the gonads, testes for male, and ovaries and for females, and associated organs just like the uterine tubes or the fallopian tubes, the uterus, the vagina, mammary glands in females, and epididymis, ductus deferens or vas deferens, the prostate gland, the seminal vesicles, and penis for males. So what is the main function of our male reproductive system or the reproductive system? So gonads produce gametes. What are these gametes? We have the sperm cell and the egg cell that unites to form a new organism. Gonads also release hormones that regulate reproduction and other body processes. Associated organs transport and store gametes. Mammary gland produce milk. So that is the function of our reproductive system. So that's the reproductive system. Next, let's proceed now to the necessary life functions. So what are these necessary life functions? So these are the basic life processes, certain processes or principles that distinguishes living things from non-living things. So it maintains boundaries which separates us from living and non-living things. Then next we have movement. It allows locomotion and also the movement of substances inside our body. Then we have also responsiveness. So responsiveness, the ability to sense changes and react. So that is also one necessary life function of living organism. Next, we have digestion. So we have this ability to break down and absorb nutrients. Then next, we have metabolism. So in metabolism, we have two processes. We have the catabolism and the anabolism. So when we say catabolism, catabolism is the process by which catabolism is the process from the word katabol, which means throwing down, and ism, a condition, is the process by which substances are break down. So that is catabolism. On the other hand, anabolism is the process by which substances are built up into complex processes. So what are the functions of metabolism? So it builds larger molecules on smaller ones, produces energy, and regulates body hormones. Another necessary life function is excretion. So excretion is a process by which living organism eliminates waste from metabolic reactions. So waste may be removed in urine or feces. So this waste cannot be recycled or used by the body, so it is being eliminated through certain organs in the body, such as the skin, wherein our perspiration are being released and our urine is being released in our urethra and our feces in our anus. So that is excretion. Then next we have the reproduction. So in reproduction, it allows or occurs on cellular level or organismal level or produces for future generation. So in reproduction, it refers to two principles. So first, we have the formation of new cells for tissue growth, repair, or replacement. So that's another function of reproduction. And also, the other one is reproduction is also for production of a new individual. So first, we have formation of new cells for tissue growth, repair, and replacement. And second is for the production of new individual. Then growth is also another necessary life functions which increases cell size and number of cells. So these are the necessary life functions which separates us from living and non-living things. So these properties makes us unique individual or unique organisms. Next, we have these survival needs. So in survival needs, we need these nutrients for our energy and cell building. So these nutrients are the carbohydrates is our energy giving foods. We have proteins. We have also lipids and fats. We have the vitamins and minerals. So necessary for our survival, we need these nutrients. And also we have oxygen, which is also needed for chemical reactions such as what? The cellular respiration. And also water. So 60 to 80% of our body is made up of water, and it is the most abundant chemical in the human body. Water is also needed for metabolic reaction. And also water is needed also in other body functions. Next, we have stable body temperature. So we really need to maintain a stable body temperature. A stable body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, or that is 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is, to be exact, 36.5. That is the normal body temperature. Lower or higher than that is not stable. So we have our body is make a mechanism so that the temperature will be stable. Then next we have atmospheric pressure. So it is also needed for our survival, that is necessary and appropriate for our exchange of gases in and out of our body. So that is our survival needs. So these are the needed material or components that we need to survive as living organism. Then next, we have the homeostasis. So what is homeostasis? So the homeostasis is the maintenance of stable internal environment. So our body is maintaining a state of balance. It is the dynamic state of equilibrium, necessary for normal body functioning in order to sustain life. So what is this homeostatic imbalance? So this is happening every day, that usually our body is having an imbalance. It is a disturbance in homeostasis resulting in a disease. So if our body cannot control that imbalances, we will develop diseases. But luckily, our body has this homeostatic ability to maintain the balance in our body. So look at this structure first. So for example, this diagram for homeostasis, variable in homeostasis. Let's see for example, so our body is maintaining what? A balanced sugar necessary for the transport of nutrients and materials in the body. So for example, after you eat your food, your blood sugar level usually increases. So that stimulus produces change in the variable. For example, this is the variable. Then after you eat your food, there's an imbalance. So there's an imbalance wherein your blood sugar level increased. So with that, it will be detected. So the stimulus produces change in the variable. And that stimulus will be sent, or it will be detected by the receptor in the body. So receptor is found in our body, so which detects change. So that receptor will now send what? The information in our control center through the afferent pathway. So what's the input information? So the information which is high sugar level in the body, it will be sent to the control center. So the control center is our brain. It will then be processed. Then the brain will now send signal to the send information to the effector that in order for the body to maintain its sugar level, it will send signal to the effector, information to the effector that the pancreas will release the hormone insulin. So the hormone insulin will now is the endocrine organ or endocrine gland which secretes the hormone insulin. The pancreas secretes the hormone insulin that makes the blood sugar level tone down. So control center to the effector. Then the effector will now send signal to the response of effector feedback to reduce the effect of stimulus and returns available to homeostatic level. So let's repeat again. So from the stimulus, mataas yung blood sugar level mo, mataas yung sugar level, after you eat your food, it will send information to the receptor. So the receptor will now detect the change na mataas yung sugar level mo. Then, the receptor will now send signal to the control center. The control center will now process the information na mataas yung blood sugar level. So, anong gagawin ng control center? Pababain yung sugar level. So, ano yung kailangan? Insulin. So, the insulin will be released in the pancreas. So, gamit ang effector. So, ang effector, it will now bring the information from the control center na dapat ang pancreas mag-release ng insulin para bumaba yung blood sugar in the body para mag-normalize. So, that is how homeostasis works. So, in maintaining homeostasis, the body communicates through neural and hormonal control system. So, first you have the receptor. So, it responds to the changes, which is the stimuli, and sends information to the control center, which is our brain. So, the control center now will determine the set point, analyzes the information, and determines appropriate response. Then the effector provides a means for response to the stimulus. So, from the control center to the effector. So, now the effector will now provide the information as a response to the stimulus. So again, this is how homeostasis works. Then we have this feedback mechanism. What are these feedback mechanisms? We have two types. So negative feedback mechanism includes most homeostatic control mechanism. So in our body, most of the functions or mechanisms are negative feedback. For example, if your temperature is too high, your body temperature is too high, your body is making a mechanism to make it lower down. If your blood pressure raises up, a negative mechanism will function so that your blood pressure level or your blood pressure will tone down. So it shuts off the original stimulus or reduces its intensity. So it works like a household thermostat. An example of that is a while ago, if mataas yung sugar level natin. Kasi mataas yung blood sugar level, ano yung kailangan? Pag mataas yung sugar level natin, i-release ng pancreas ang ang insulin para bumaba yung sugar level. How about kapag pag mababa yung blood sugar level, which is also not good in our body? If the body's blood sugar level is too low, the pancreas will also release the hormone insulin. So that insulin will make the blood sugar level raise into normal level. So almost all of the negative feedback, almost all of the functions in the body are negative feedback. Ang positive feedback is only two examples we have. We have the blood clotting and during the birth of the baby. So what is this positive feedback? When we say positive feedback, it increases the original stimulus to push the variable farther. An example of this is blood clotting. So, kapag nasugatan kayo, class, ano yung kailangan? Kailangan ng maraming platelets, the thrombocytes. So, the body will send signal na kailangan ng maraming thrombocytes or platelets to aid in the blood clotting para hindi kayo ma-hemorrhage. Hindi kayo mamatay sa internal hemorrhage. So, after na mag-blood clot, di ba, mapansin nyo, may parang liquid na whitish or clear liquid. So, that's one body function. So, if masugatan kayo, blood coagulation functions as a positive feedback. So, pag nasugatan, more thrombocytes or platelets are needed. Unlike doon sa negative feedback na yung mataas, ipababa. Yung baba, ipataas. Itong positive, yung mataas, ipataas pa talaga. Another example is during the birth of the baby. So, during the birth of the baby, what hormone do we are usually needed or excreted during the birth of the baby? We have in female, we have the hormone oxytocin. The oxytocin is needed for the contraction of your uterus. So your oxytocin will be released in the body to aid in what? In the contraction of the uterus. So it will push the baby outside. So during the birth of the baby, more oxytocin is needed. So that is a positive feedback mechanism. So I hope that you really get the difference between positive and negative feedback mechanism. So that is the first part of our discussion, and later we will be discussing about the language of anatomy, the position, the regional terms, the directional terms, and the body planes and sections. So stay up and have a good day.